So in this video, I'm going to be discussing what it really feels like living as an African, most especially a black African here in the Philippines. So I want you guys to really stay tuned. Welcome once again to my YouTube channel. My name is Kano Chinedu Praise and I'm currently residing here in the Philippines. And also I really want to appreciate those messages you guys really sent to me, on my Instagram, on my Facebook, and also some of the text message you guys sent to me, to encourage me. It really means so much to me, and also it makes me focus and also be very consistent on my on uploading videos on a regular basis. And also, if this is your first time coming across my YouTube channel, and probably you really like the content which I actually produce, please consider subscribing, turn on your notification bell so that you can be able to get future videos as I upload. And also don't forget to smash the like button, and also don't forget to also comment on what you really think about this video or probably any of my previous video. So without further ado, I want you guys to stay tuned and enjoy the video. For me, being black in the Philippines, most especially a black African like me, has been very interesting. It has been really sweet. I've really met some cool, friendly Filipino people. If I could remember, when I moved to Pangasinan, that was in 2015, I was staying in a province called San Carlos, and in that San Carlos there weren't any black person living in that place, if I could remember. And I noticed whenever I go outside to buy something, or maybe I'm going to school, I see my neighbors, they're always staring at me all the time. Like whenever I just come outside, you see the children, the mom, that they just peep outside their window and they're like staring at me. So gradually, when I started making friends with the locals around there, I decided to ask them that question, that why do Filipino keep staring at you, even though they actually see you all the time. And they told me that that's how they actually have, because I'm very different, and also my skin complexion is very different. And also most of them are also wondering that why would I want to stay around their neighborhood. They're like very fascinated, like what would this guy be doing around this place. And if I could remember, when I traveled to Sigiho for vacation for the very first time, this was like one of the most creepiest experiences of my life. Like, everybody was staring at me, not just my neighbor. Like, whenever I just go outside, I'm traveling, I'm going to the beach or going somewhere, like everybody, both young, old, small, short, were all staring at me. And the worst part was that whenever I go out, children will start following me on my back. Like, they tell me, hey, can you come and play basketball here? Would you like to play basketball here? Do you know how to play basketball here? And things like that. And also, they go to a time when I went to my friend's shop to sit down there, to just like sit down, have a chat. The children were still there, and one guy came to touch my hair. The moment he touched my hair, he told his parent that his hair is killing, like something like it's killing. And before everybody started coming to touch my hair, started coming that, why is your hair like this? Why is your hair like this? Is your hair like LeBron James? Does your hair texture look like Stephen Curry? They were like giving difference. So I was like the one explaining, trying to explain. They asked me, is LeBron James from your own country? Are you the brother to LeBron James? Are you the brother to Stephen Curry? I was trying to explain to them that the black people who are in America are actually the same black people like us. There's no difference. Their hair texture and our own hair texture, that's the same. Like, they were all asking me question. I was like, oh my god. Like, I was fucking very tired. Like, I was like, this people, they watch basketball very well, and I'm a black guy. Why would they be like asking me question? But I got to understand that they have been watching black people on the TV, but they haven't really met a black person face to face. So seeing me was quite a very big excitement. Like, they were like, there's a black guy in Sigiho, there's a black guy in Sigiho. That was exactly how it was. Like, it was really very weird, but in a way, I felt like a celebrity, because they were like telling me, you look like LeBron James, you look like LeBron James. And can you imagine, someone who look like LeBron James doesn't even know how to play basketball very well. I'm more of like a soccer fan. So, and there was an instance where I was in the jeepney, and there was a perfume I brought from my country. It's a very strong perfume. It's an Arabic perfume. I think, yeah, it's an Arabic perfume, and you can find that perfume here in the Philippines. You don't spray it too much, so I spray it like 3, 1, 2, 3. And when I jumped into the jeepney about going to school, I was very surprised. They're all closing their nose. Like, I was like, this is a perfume. Some of the Filipinos also were actually using perfume, but they just closed their nose. And when I came, so I felt very embarrassed, and it happened like almost like 3 or 4 times. and it got to an extent that I stopped going with jeepney. I decided to be going with tricycle. But you know, we were having a conversation, more of like a conversation, and you know, this topic came to mind. That I was like, I said I came into the jeepney and the Filipino like covering their nose and you know things like that. So what I got to understand is that you know they said, praise, maybe your perfume is really very very strong. And here in the Philippines, Philippines don't really spray strong perfume. Honestly, they don't like perfumes that are very very strong. They prefer you know perfumes that are a little bit lighter, not too strong, not too you know corrosive. You know, so from there you know I had to you know stop using that perfume and I had to buy you know the Filipino perfume. And ever since you know I started using that, you know, I mean, I never experienced like since that experience happened till now. I've never experienced any Filipino covering their nose, even in the jeepney, in the tricycle, in the train station. No, I've never really had that experience. But to some people, they might actually have some experiences that you know still at that you know they still cover their nose. But honestly speaking, there are also some people who don't really, no matter how they take a shower, or no matter how they try to be clean, you know, they really smell very very awful. I feel that you know if you're very very clean and you take good care of yourself very very well, nobody is gonna you know try to you know embarrass you or try to make you feel you know less accepted in any place you find yourself. So ever since, so far so good, you know, my experiences have actually been very very nice. Like I've never seen in a situation where a Filipino is trying to you know choose a foreigner over me, or a black foreigner. And also Philippines is a country which you know treats every foreigner, every nationality equal. You know, some people feel that you know if you're a white person there's a preferential treatment which they give to you, and also if you're a black person there's a preferential treatment they give to you. I know that some of that thing actually happened in some places. Like you know I've had so many friends who tried you know applying in the call center, and you know they can't actually you know they wasn't really giving them opportunity you know to work there. But when I worked in a call center, because I worked in a call center for 1 year, and when I tried asking my boss like why is it that you know so many black foreigners you know they want to work in a call center and they get rejected. And I got to understand that you know Filipino are very very specific when it comes to accent. You know, if they meet you and you have a very good accent and they try to test you and you have a very good accent, they're gonna accept you. But if you don't have a good accent, you're gonna be you're gonna find it very very difficult for you to work in that place. Because they told me that you know majority of the black people, they have, it's not like they don't speak English, but they have an accent. And for you to coach them on how to really you know have that you know call center accent, especially you know if you're controlling American, if you're having American line, if you're working with an American company and things like that, you know you need to have some certain accent for you to really work in that place. And why I was actually accepted to work there was because you know when my boss, when I applied for a job, he called me and he just heard my accent, and from there he told me I should come over to Manila to you know come for an oral interview. And the moment I just came, I mean in less space of 1 hour, I was given the job. He was like asking me, you have this accent, you have this accent, what account would you like to like, is it downline, is it upline, and things like that. So it's not about being racist, it's just that you know there are some certain expectations. It's just like you know you're going to look for a job, you can't just go and look for a job without you know having some certain expectation. Or probably you're going to apply for visa, you need to have had some process, you need to have you know done so many things just for you to apply. You cannot just go to the embassy and just say I want to travel to the US. No. So that was the reason why I was actually given that you know job, you know employment. And also you know some people will say you know Philippines, they love the white color, they love the white complexion, you know they like to look white, they like to use you know whitening cream, kojic soap, and other forms of skin you know enhancement cream or lotion. Actually I won't actually blame, because you know one, Philippines is a third world country, and secondly Philippines were colonized by the Europeans. So most of the European mindsets were still remained here in the Philippines even after the Philippines you know got their independence. So the average Filipino feels that you know if you're being white, you have the opportunity to have a good job, you have the opportunity to be accepted in any company, you have the opportunity you know to actually do good things. But if you are a tan or dark skin, they feel that you know you're gonna have bad luck, they feel that you're not gonna have less respect, and they feel that you know you are working so hard on the sun, or you're doing some stressful job. You know that's how it is. But irrespective of that, you know that is the Filipino mindset. But in terms of personality and character, they still accept everybody. So you're not actually going to blame them that you know the Philippines love fairer skin, or maybe they love this lighter skin. It's like a normal fashion trend here in the film that if you're white, but you know I have some friends who are actually black, who are black foreigners, who are actually making it very very in the Philippines. Like they're actually very successful black models. I have some successful YouTubers, black YouTubers who are very, very famous here. So you would say if the Philippines is a racist country, how come, you know, the foreigners, they came to the Philippines and they're very, very successful, or maybe they're very successful in their area of, in the aspect of, you know, model in YouTube? Because if Philippines was a racist country, or if Philippines were not really treating people equally, they won't actually make that. They won't actually be very successful in the Philippines. But the fact that, you know, they can come to the Philippines and, you know, be very, very successful in their area of, you know, expectancy, then definitely Philippines is just a very, very open country to everybody. The most important thing for you to really observe here in the Philippines is, as a foreigner, you need to be able, as a foreigner living in the Philippines, you need to learn to respect the Filipino culture, their tradition, and you need to learn to treat every Filipino equally, because those three things can easily make the Filipino person to really hate you. Because for me, so far I've stayed in the Philippines, I've never had any form of saying like you're like this, you're like this. No, because everywhere, you know, I go to, I tend to, you know, treat everybody equally, and I try also to behave like a Filipino in a way. You know, I try to, you know, learn some certain things, you know, about the Filipino people, because here in the Philippines, if you know how to speak Tagalog, even if you just a little Tagalog, probably, you know, you're going to buy something and you say, hey pabili, maayong buntag, kumusta, like they're very, very happy to see that, you know, even as a foreigner, you know, you're learning their language, and they see that, wow, you really love the Philippines, and you're actually trying to, you know, learn some certain things about the Philippines. And also you learn to eat their food, like the balot, like the fish ball, like the seaweed, like all kinds of food like that. Just, it's not like you're gonna be eating that every time, but at least, you know, you just try that, so that, you know, when a Filipino you say, I tried this, you know, they're gonna be very, very happy that, you know, you're actually, you know, trying to be a Filipino. Like, so far, I mean, majority of places, if I tell a Filipino that I've eaten this food, I've eaten this food, I've eaten this food, you know what, they just come in, they call me black Filipino, because majority of the food, even some of the Filipinos don't like to eat, I've eaten most of them. So it's just like they say, when you go to Babylon, you need to behave like Babylon. If you go to Rome, you behave like Rome. So that's exactly how it is. And so far so good, you know, my experiences has actually been very, very fantastic. And majority of my friends who have actually stayed in the Philippines, when I actually try to get a review from them, they really love the Philippines, and that is why, you know, they decide to stay much longer in the Philippines. And some of them are married, some of them have successful businesses. So aside everything, Philippines is quite a very, very friendly, most accepting countries. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. So before I go, if you know you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing and turn on your notification bell, so that you can be able to get future video even as I upload. And also don't forget to, you know, smash the like button, and also don't forget to also comment on what you really think about this video. So without no further ado, I want you guys to take good care of yourself, and ingat.